Okay, hello everyone and welcome to another randomised gaming stream. I'm your host, Random Gamer Riven. In today's stream, we are going to be streaming Golden Axe 3. We have again also covered this on the channel previously, a long time ago, before we had an open source scan converter. So magic, attack, jump, we got hard and normal. We've got a nice selection of tracks there from the Sega Mega Drive and Sega Genesis. Now, Golden Axe 3 has an interesting history. It was originally released in 1993. It was developed by Sega's CS team, Sega's consumer support team, which basically made their customer games, published by Sega, and it was published on the Sega Mega Drive. Now, it only got a physical release in Japan. I believe it got releases on the infamous Sega channel in US and Europe, but of course the Sega channel was pretty rare and pretty much barely anyone ever used it, so anything released on the Sega channel no longer exists, and the cartridges didn't have any memory to hold the game, so you'd literally download them, and then once it downloads, once you powered it off, boom, the game was gone. So, which characters do you want me to start with? I might do a couple of run-throughs, see if I can finish it. There are multiple routes in this game, which gives it a very, very big selection playthrough scenario, much like Dungeons and Dragons did, where you have multiple sort of passages. I quite like the Panther. Shall I be the classic barbarian? I will be the Panther character. I can't remember his name. Now you've been released from your evil curse. Your mission is to defeat the Prince of Darkness and return with the Golden Axe. And A was magic, wasn't it? Well, there's a nice little mist effect for you all. Yes, the running charge is one of the big advantages you can do in this, as with all the Golden Axes, but it really is very helpful. So this one is very much a big improvement over the previous two games on the Mega Drive. It actually takes advantage of the hardware's capabilities more so. The original Golden Axe was a very faithful port with some additional content, although it did have some cuts to it, but they added in some new stages. This one actually enhances on the graphics. You've got some nice little the desert sand scrolling in the background, so there's a lot more sort of movement in the background on this one. Strangely, it's one of those weird things where I was just looking at the wiki to see what the information. The wiki was written like it'd been written by some fan of Golden Axe 1. It was like, no, this game is not as good, does not look as colourful as the original game. I just missed the ride-on creature there. Should have really rode on him. Although the ride-on creatures I don't think are that good in this one. So unlike the original Golden Axe, you actually have a slightly bigger repertoire of moves. Get some wonderful scrolling above and below us, especially meant we're above like on the dry desert sands. This guy's really quick and powerful, so he's well worth playing. Each character actually has their own moves. Got a few special moves as well, which is unlike the previous Golden Axe. Now this stage I can actually, so as you see we've already got something a bit more lively and active than the original Golden Axe, because we're actually on a chariot riding through the streets, or riding through the hillside. So this is a really nice touch. Stuff like this is, you see quite a bit of this in Golden Axe 3, but you don't see too much of it. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. That's going to hurt. I shouldn't have walked into that spear attack. Yeah, his throw catapults, so I have got to be a little bit careful. The cheeky wants to do the charge there and force them off. So as with any good scrolling beat 'em up, the key tactic is to basically X and Y plane them, although it's not as easy as in some ones. This Golden Axe is probably better if you do the charge attack to avoid damage. Just get the meat. I need some meat. Or in this case, an apples. And there we got some magic. So the bird guy acts as a sort of early primary villain. He appears quite a bit until you actually fight him. He drops off a few enemies and appears in a few stages. He's sort of like the sort of the Bebop and Rocksteady, if I was to give an analogy of the main villain. This one, the villain isn't actually Golden Axe, or isn't Death Adder, I should say, or Golden Axe. That matters. Golden Axe was a villain in Golden Axe the Duel. Yes, the Golden Axe actually came alive in that one. Oh, she just kept charging him. Never mind. So you see we've got selectors. Let's go up for this first one. Yep, the little cheeky monkeys are stealing. So the gnomes are very much back from the previous game. You had little wizards in the second game. So, as I said, this one's a huge step up over the previous two games. The second game is largely almost like a palette swap of the first game on Mega Drive. It really is not particularly inspiring, the second Golden Axe. Which is a shame. It's a shame this one didn't get released. This one you also get ranked on your score, and you have to get a certain, I believe it's, you have to do get a certain enough score, and then you can unlock the true final boss. So there's actually, this one has a proper replay system where you won't get, until you beat the true final boss, you won't get the best ending. Can we do a few breakables, although not a huge number? Okay, towards away BC is his special. Got to run towards BC and B and C together, and there. Just digging out the old manual and the moves. A nice little idle animation there. And there we go, the super. We've got quite a few additional moves, so it's worth getting to learn the moves in this one. It's also quite handy to have a manual so you can actually read what the secret moves are. Yeah, towards B and C does that heavy overslash as well. And we've already got to the first boss getting a colour palette change. So basically these guys are prisoners of the characters ahead. We can have a chance to get the monster back from the first stage. These monsters, I don't like the monsters that much in this one. They're not very good actually. This one's got quite a slow tongue, so I think that might be intentional. They also, as with the original, they do run off if too many people take. Yeah, I think the charge is probably a better move to do. That AI is very prickly. He definitely wants to, so I got up and again more routes. I'm going up. Yeah, they've got slightly different moves in the manuals. They've got B and C attacks, so we've got towards B and C, which is that heavy one, and then forward, away, forward is that one. A couple of them have full circles, so towards, down, no, towards. Ooh, shouldn't be chat trying to look at the manual while I'm. But again, this makes great use of the Mega Drive's colour palette to give you quite a variety. So the early couple of bosses in this are actually the other player characters possessed by the main villain, so just going to be cheeky and do that. I believe saving hostages actually gives you a power-up attack. So yep, we freed him, we freed the curse on him. And by the way, I should say I'm playing this on a Japanese Mega Drive, and this entire game is in English. Like, they built it for an English release, and it never came. So, as I said, it only got a physical release in Japan. So I'm at level E. Oh, down and B for a throw move as well, and towards C plus B. It's the running jump, isn't it? That high one's actually very helpful for some of the other guys later on. Also, as you can tell, damage does not heal up in this one, so you are, until you get the little golems, gnome dudes, you are not getting any health back. Yeah, this basically, if you want to win with this, do that attack constantly. Ah, this is the better one. This is the longer. This one's got a much longer tongue than the yellow one. There's 3 ride-on monsters as with the original game, I think. I don't think this has any of the ones from the original game. I think they're all unique to Golden Axe 3, but they're definitely... I can't remember what the third one was. So these guys, we have to kill the one that's got them hostage, and then we can... No, get off my ride-on, chap. I want him. See, this guy's much better than the one in the first stage. Let's keep taking the top route, shall we? Should we just go all the top all the way? There, I've got max magic. I don't think this one has a score, so effectively that magic potion is wasted. So the easiest way to actually plane them in this one is to actually come down on top of them. What I mean by playing them is to take them in to where you're basically going to have a competitive advantage where they can't get you. You come down directly up and down on top of them. Approaching them from left on light is more likely to get you attacked. And as with most of these games, there's actually a weakness. So I'm going to throw my lot in with these guys and put in the magic spell to begin with. Hopefully that wasn't... This guy's got the same magic sort of Gilius Thunderhammer, but they've now added a nice cloud effect. Keeping them apart. And that attack's incredibly strong, so I can just demolish them. I do like the way the little gnomes come in this one. Slightly more original than the original game. Up there goes a little hat. And there goes the we get his nice potion. Now, the way you go through this game is entirely dependent on the route you take, so there are a huge number. This, unlike the other Golden Axe, is quite a bit more replay value. It's a lot bigger game. I just prefer the speed of the characters as well, and their versatility is just vastly better. Now, I want to try and rescue. I think the other fact you need to do is rescue as many people as you can. Has actually got a cannon Y. That's got quite a high attack, so I don't need to be next to him to do the initiate. But that's towards BC is probably the best attack. Yep, there's the other. The classic burning. Oh, that's not good for me. As you can tell, this one is the strongest of the ride-ons because of its range. Now, ooh, it's probably on its last. Got it. It's probably on its last hit actually, so I need to be careful. Because you can use to pretty much destroy everything with this. Ah, these, I haven't fought these guys. Normally you fight these on the second stage. So I will swap character, depending how long we take. I don't think I'll be finishing it this. That strong attack's powerful, but it's too slow with the wind up. I think the running charge and that one are probably the best moves. For the for the panther guy. His base attacks have also got quite a lot of range to them, so this is probably a bit harder than the original Golden Axe. The original Golden Axe is a very, very easy arcade game. Again, this stage I think is a lot of the stages actually have like night to day effect, which is another really cool touch. Yeah, the bite's probably one of the more dangerous moves to do, actually, because it leaves you vulnerable if there are other enemies on screen. As you see, the stage is steadily turning into night, which is a really subtle effect. I must admit, this seems to have not had a lot of love from Sega fans, partly because it didn't get a Western release, and I think partly is some of them thought it would be a port of the 32X System Arcade Revenge of Death Adder, which was never going to happen, or at least if it did, it was going to be an incredibly subpar version, because of course the Mega Drive was not even remotely capable of doing the System 32 software. It's a shame it didn't get a Saturn port, if I'm being honest, but that's a song to lament for another time. Oh, we've got double out there. Okay, back to full health. And I've got my little dragon friend. Okay, this is brilliant for this boss because I have a real advantage because those goats can't jump. And once I've got... I can literally do this. You will fight the other bosses, these bosses, if you go this different routes, but it's always nice just to at least see them. In the different settings. I do like the gnomes actually do a few different things than the original where they were very rigid, so... Yeah. Oh, there's the meat this time. You do actually get the meat as well. W. Well, I didn't need... I'm at full magic anyway, so it doesn't matter. Stage 5, and we're 28 minutes into the stream, so this is going along quite nicely. And some really good beats here. So this stage I actually have to be a bit careful with that jump attack because I can't just use it. But yeah, the music, as you can hear, is just absolutely rocking from Mega. This is certainly shows its 1993 heritage. And off he goes off the cliff. Yeah. Down he goes off the cliff. The AI likes to jump. Those enemies like to jump when you do the attack, so it's a good idea to launch the tongue just before. So stage actually got sort of looks like a giant crab in the background, very similar to actually one of the earlier stages. In the original game, you had a stage on the back of a giant turtle, and you had another one flying on the back of a massive bird, which is a really nice touch. See, the giants are back again. I think this one also has a stage on the back of a giant bird. Ooh, did I get that one off? Oh, yeah, I must have got that one off the screen. Ooh. Oh. No! For me, as a technically impressive title, this definitely feels the best of the Golden Axes on the Mega Drive. In fact, it's probably one of the best outings in this series. For me, I'd say I feel this is a better game than both Golden Axe 1 and 2. Probably even the duel. Really, it's just this and Revenge of Death Adder, so... yeah, once you save enough hostages, you rescue... get an extra life. Now I think, can I get reward? Can smash them. One slight criticism, I think they overly use the enemies. It would be nice if they'd just done a few more, but I can't remember what this guy does actually. Ah, this is the grabber one. Okay, this is the really weird one. You have to basically get right next to the enemy, and you can. It literally just tosses them. And it's not that good, for want of a better word. Off you go. Oh, that's not a cliff edge. You can actually guard in this one as well. And down and B for a low attack as well. Making this probably the most versatile of all the Golden Axe. Let's keep going up. I said I'd keep going up, and that's what I've been doing, so let's go up again. I've just gone up. Let's see how far. Oh, so those guys can breathe fire, so... and I could have done with those health. Oops, let's not waste them. And we have duel our battle against our eagle friend who we saw at the start of stage 1. So easy next time. And so he flies away. I just run away and give you the potions that time. Oh. So we are approaching the tower and we're flying on the back of the bird, as I mentioned. So my level is classed as C. Depending on your overall level depends on what which of the endings you get. So yeah, I think this is a homage to the original game, but this is a really nice technical. Some really nice background effects here to make it look like it's flying over the sea. So you did ride the back of a big bird in the original game, but it didn't imply it was sort of directly flying. This does, and it just looks so much nicer with the fact it's all going up and down. Imagine by now I don't like these skeleton guys, so I'm just going to use his awesome jump attack just to dispense with them pretty quickly. Ooh. Then you can do the high leap for this. And he's got quite a big repertoire of moves, so how you choose to fight the enemies in this is far more flexible than the original game. But the enemies do... Everyone seems to be quite weak. You as well. The charging seems to be the best way to dish out the damage. Again, for the player, I actually think grappling is not a very good way to attack unless there's only one enemy left. Ooh, there we go. Potions, meat. Good, lots of meat. That's what we want. Yeah, see, that leaves you vulnerable. Really, you have to do it when there's no one around. Oops. Again, the enemies like to charge you, so if you're going to charge them, you need to be quick. You can also use that one just to get away from the enemies because it's such a fast move. They don't seem to block the upper the Pi BC attack as well with him, so whereas they will block the standard run. Here we go, the giant shit again. Now, this is where slightly we're overusing the bosses. Admittedly, I haven't actually fought any of the other player characters, so I've gone largely a route where I haven't fought the other player characters. In this version, usually you can get... So I'm going to use another spell there. But usually you get... each of the player characters, certain routes of different bosses, and the cursed versions of all the player characters can be fought. Although if you're playing a said character, they won't appear on the stage they're supposed to. so the cursed version won't appear. So it effectively implies that only up to 2 characters can be released from the curse according to the storyline. By Gilius, the other 2 you have to fight and battle. Is that it? Yep, that's it. I've only used up 1 credit. I think I should probably do a 1 credit run. Get a bit of practice and finally get in a 1 credit run on this. Actually up on the channel. I know we've done a previous gameplay video, but that was only a small section. So you finally got here. However, you won't be able to go on. So yeah, I'm just going to exploit that attack for this boss fight. Why make it hard on yourself? Or do the running jump. Because this guy is trying to fight him naturally is actually quite tough. Try and get a... You see, he's got the same idea as me to charge. There we go. Oh. Yes, the king rises only to be struck down by the villain, the princess. These are the fire-breathing variants of them. Right, let's see if I can finish without dying, although I've got a feeling I may not be getting the best ending, but let's go. That actually fought. Interesting, the route I took, I didn't fight too many of these guys. Now we are actually going to refight pretty much all the bosses in this version, this route. Must be, they're expected slightly more deeper. Whoa! They've got quite a locked off. Ah! You want to roar from these guys when they perish. Goes more stronger. Roar! Oh yes, they actually, the hearts increase. Some of them give hearts as well that increases your life bar. Right, I'm going to probably stick to just doing this attack now because If I don't, I'm probably unable to get the best. That was a bad move. It's a very bad move. Let's do that, see if that softens them up. Oh! Give me your potions. Now, I'm not sure I can knock these guys off the edge of this section. Let's find out. That got him. You can tell if you... Okay. The goat guys again. Yeah, these guys remind me a bit of Zangief actually, with that lariat attack from Street Fighter 2. Those type of charged attacks. See, if I try and do the other ones, they're going to lariat me out of it. Whereas the AI just seems to have a really weird issue with this attack. It can't recover from it. Down you go again, buddy. We'll just rinse and repeat. And there he goes down the cliff that time. Yeah, back and attack is blocking this. In case you're wondering, and I haven't been blocking much, so. This BC attack's actually quite a good one to get you out of a bit of spot of trouble when you're surrounded, because it's a full 360 attack. Come on, that's one down. probably shouldn't use the magic there, but... So he's got 3 guys to fight and they're all pretty nasty. Acts as a get out of jail card as well. The AI does not block that attack. If I finish this, I should probably do a long play of this. I need to do one of Sonic R, which I've got planned. But there'll be a long play coming up in the next few days. I'm just putting it together as we speak, and that's on a game I haven't actually mentioned about, but that will be coming. So here we go, the final boss. Now, pending how this battle goes, depending which version of the end boss we will fight. Now, I should state, this is not Death Adder. Death Adder is dead in this one. And he doesn't come back till Revenge of Death Adder. Oof. Ooh, I just gotten the spell just as he's about to grab me. Yeah, trying to get close to this guy is very difficult in this one. Yeah, again, don't. So as you see there, one thing I've learned, don't grab this guy, he's just going to hurt you. Airborne attacks are definitely the best one, or in this case, that dive, which they do not seem to block. Yeah, it just throws you if you can get close to him. Oh, there we go. Oh well, that was the bad ending, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, obviously, I think it's beat the game without continuing to actually get the best ending, or to get a certain rank, but yeah, my score was obviously not good enough at that time. Yeah, I think you need an A ramp. So there you go, Dim Jungle, Scorching Sand, Death Mountain, Ride the Whirlwind, and the Gates of Fate. That was my route. That was a B rank, so basically you have to, I think, so my score was 400. I can't remember if it's a set score. It's not actually that clear what, I actually got to be careful there. This is going to be a bit of a pain to capture on the open source scan converter because the OSC doesn't seem to like the actual intro seems to be doing resolution changes, interestingly. So let's quickly show you one of the other characters. I've actually been him in the gameplay video, so I will avoid. Must be the Tara's Flare character. Although I can't remember if she's. It's not Tara's Flare, it's a different girl. Gilius Thunderhammer is the only one to return from the original. It's like Kane something and Kane Blade, and she's a like trapeze artist, this female character, although she does look very similar to. And she tosses her sword for her B and C weapons, so. There's her block. And there's her forward and B and C. Oh, she's got a nice little slide with the low attack. That's just her B and C, is it? So what's her... towards B and C. She's got a nice little kick there as well, and then towards you throw her weapons. So, although that, unlike the Panthers guy, that leaves her quite vulnerable. She's can actually, once you initiate it, you can then hold it until you need to release it. I don't think they've done the same block as was seen, I think, in Knights of the Round Capcom arcade game. Now I'm going to show you the alternative routes just to give you a sample of the first few stages. I'm not going to play through the whole game again. I'll save that for another video. I do think Golden Axe needs a lot more love. 3 needs a lot more love because it's such a fantastic addition to the series, and it's such a well done Mega Drive game, so technically superior to a lot of the other ones. Arguably, Streets of Bare Knuckles 3 is probably the better game. I say Bare Knuckles 3, not Streets of Rage 3. There's a big difference between the two. Very big. Bare Knuckles 3 is a phenomenal game. Streets of Rage 3 is a horribly mutated version of the same game. Let's see, like Tara Flare, she's flame magic, I think. I think we'll find out in a sec. Yeah, unlike the Panther's attack, they will counter the sword. I'm going to show a different route by going straight ahead. So map of Easterland, or Eastland, Eastland is where this one's set. Tender Hamlet, it will be our next location. So you see there's just totally different routes to play through the game. And I think you can crew, there's definitely slightly better routes to get higher scores. Although this is very similar to the other stage we did, but I'll stay low. I think I've gone the same route twice for this one. Okay, I'll go down below. Or did I do this as a third stage? Hi Nakodana, thanks for joining the stream. Or no, I should say Niko, didn't you want to be called? Apologies. Nakodana. Hi, welcome to the Mega Drive stream of Golden Axe the Duel 3, although it's been a very quiet stream today. Not sure why, because this is probably one of the more technically impressive of the Golden Axe Mega Drive games, so... Gungrave 2. I know we've... I have to see if Dragoon's got that in the collection somewhere on his side. I thought the original Gungrave was quite good though. That's on PS2, am I correct? Is that the right one? Or is it, because I know there's a new one as well coming out in the Gungrave series. Oof, her sword. She's definitely a weaker character because the enemies seem to exploit. Oh yeah, she's definitely a weaker character. Is it subtitled Gungrave 2? By the way, I saw you replied to that, what appeared to be the developer. I was quite surprised. It appeared we had a developer reply on the Atlantis video for the Sega Saturn. That's quite nice to see. Although I have to bear a little bit of caution. I'm always a bit wary of people if they're... it seemed the guy knew his stuff, so I think it probably was, because I know occasionally I've had one or two people report to me they've had people comment on their streams who have said they worked on games or advert, and not necessarily haven't, but it's a cluster. Well, can't say that. Yeah, we are censored for swearing, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It's a cluster. We're getting the Cave of Crystal Roots this time. Gungrave Overdose. I think, yeah, I thought they were all pretty good, but obviously the second one's not as good as the first. I know the original one was a bit of a culty game that got slightly weird releases, so it did get released over here, but it wasn't exactly the most commonest or spoken about game, that's for sure. Same with the sequel. I got the impression Atlantis on the Saturn might have been a bit rushed, which was interesting. It's always nice to have fellow developers, seeing as I've worked on countless games, although I didn't work on any games during the Saturn era. In fact, I didn't start working on any games till late PS2, start of the Wii, PS3, PS4. That's a heart increase. A bit risky. Their behaviour is too damn aggressive. Yeah, I thought it was quite a good sort of relaxing gun shooter, but I can't say I've really played the second one. It's Overdose is the second one, isn't it? They are doing a new one as well, I think. They did a trailer for one on PS4, so you can always think about picking that up when that releases. See how the modern take on it, because it's always interesting when you take an old like PS2 series and then update it with a new franchise. You're like, is this going to be good or not? Or are they just using the name? It's a bit like Baldur's Gate 3, where they just literally used the name. Yeah, I remember one of the guys has played through, I think he played through most of the first Gungrave on PS2 and really enjoyed it. Yeah, no, we've definitely got... I think Overdose was released over here as well. I'm sure we've definitely got them both, the PAL versions. Right, yes, she is fire magic. I must admit, I regard it not as a Baldur's Gate game, as a sequel to Divinity, if I'm being honest. Because it's basically made by the same team and they're just using the Baldur's Gate name. But it looks interesting. It's been a while since I played through. Yeah, the Saturn's Port of Atlantis is definitely not the strongest version. I saw you ask a question about transitions. I don't know if the guy will reply, but one thing I will say is they may have removed the transitions to save space or allow them to optimize other areas on the PS1. Overall, I got the impression that the it seemed to me like some developers I haven't really played the Divinity games too much, so I know we've got one on the 360. I need to probably pick up them. I keep meaning to pick up the original Sin on Steam at some point. I've already played through Golden Axe once, Golden Axe 3 the once, so I've given my commentary on it really. It is a really good game. I do really enjoy this. It is also 2-player, I should add, but it's only 2-player. The music for this one on Mega Drive is really impressive and enjoyable. Divinity Original Sin. Yeah, that's the newer one, isn't it? I haven't yet tried that. There's a few of them I haven't yet tried, so... There's one on 360 that I know was actually a very good version. Yeah, I've not actually played through a Divinity Sin once yet, I will admit, so I need to... Original Sin. It's one of those many games on my to-do list. Some interesting sound effects slightly changing there with the streams. Oh wow, 390 playtime. That's a big guy. Is that one playthrough or 3 in total? I know I must have put a lot into Fallout 3 because I did everything in Fallout 3. Probably one of the... But the downside of Fallout 3, by the end of the game, it was just crashing left, right and centre, so I kind of was a bit unimpressed towards the end. These guys are much hard. The cat definitely is one of the better characters. Oh, that's 3 playthroughs. So that's still 100 hours of playthrough, 110 hours, 120. So that's a meaty game. Anything that gives you 50 hours is big. Anything that gives you over 100 is huge. I have over 1,000 hours on Warframe, so... And I dare say I must have about 500 hours on Shining Force 3 across all scenarios, so... These guys are definitely harder with them. She's not got the sort of pounce move, and they block and react more to her attacks, actually. So it definitely plays differently per character, you can definitely feel that. She is a bit more acrobatic, though, I will say. Let's do that. I think if I keep the sword in action, I should be good. I'll probably do Phantasy Star 2 tomorrow, Nico. So if you want to watch, stay tuned to I'll definitely do Phantasy Star 2 tomorrow. Have a look at that. Seeing as we've done Wonder Boy, so I'll do Phantasy Star 2 tomorrow. Have a look at that, which is going to be interesting, as I've never really actually sat down and played any of the Phantasy Star games other than Phantasy Star Online, which is still one of my all-time favourites. Patching pre-release just mostly fixed and then bounce. Yeah, I did that with well, not Warframe, Dark Souls. So I did a playthrough of the game originally, and then I did a playthrough of the game with the expansion, and they made it so much easier. Dark Souls, quite a bit different actually to play through. It was quite enjoyable. I did feel they nerfed it quite heavily, but then I think they did need to nerf it, as the initial version of Dark Souls was. They made some mistakes with like the opening area being way too hard. Again, for a Mega Drive game, this has a really good soundtrack, and a lot of people don't ever say this is like a really good soundtrack, but this is. It's just got that right amount of pumpingness to it. She's definitely more nimble than all the other characters, but I think that comes at the cost of her. The AI does like to jump just as you move up to it, which is a key thing. Yeah, I did ironically try to play the released version of Fallout 3, and then I had NPCs starting to disappear in one of the I had the infamous NPC disappearing bug, and then I just thought, no, screw this. That was Fallout 3 is one of those games where playing the initial release in fact, I don't recommend buying Bethesda games on launch because they're so buggy that they're just unplayable at times, because you'll normally hit if you try to do everything, you'll normally hit some horrible bug that messes up a quest or two, or even non-progs you. I think I was sort of semi-non-progged in Fallout 3 with one of the NPCs that just randomly disappeared from the village, which was just infuriating. They did patch that issue, but it could still occur, I think. But yeah, Dark Souls was definitely worth doing release. Because they definitely changed it. But yeah, I think it depends on the company and the state they release the game in. Different companies I trust more to release a better polished product than others. And while I enjoy Bethesda's games, I don't enjoy the quality of them. I mean, they're usually very good, but they're just so buggy initially, it's not worth taking the risk, I always find. Saving and reload. That's if you can save and reload, it's not too bad. It's when the save keeps the bug and then you've got problems, which was the issue I had with Fallout 3. The step towards creative. Interesting. Was that so brutally hard that you needed to do weird things in order to survive certain encounters? Because there's a few games I've had that where the game was so hard it's more luck than skill if you were past sections on like the harder difficulties. Shining Force 3 is a bit weird like that. They just ups the damage the enemies do, which is what I hate for difficulty, because that's not making it harder, that's just making it harder as adding in a lot more enemies, so you have to fight more and do. But upping damage is not really making it difficult, that's just making it harder for the sake of not balancing it. Probably should try this one on hard, see if that ups the damage, whether that gives you more enemies to fight. I would hope the latter and not the former. I do like the guy that struggles away. So unlike the Panther guy, her towards B and C is not a guaranteed hit, whereas the Panther guy had an almost guaranteed, if you used that ability it would straight up. Go for airborne attacks. I think that's probably the best way. I mean, this really is. I really do think Golden Axe 3 needs a lot more love than the other Golden Axe. It really is good. Oof. Just briefly continue to finish this fight. I'm not going to go on for much longer, guys. Got a few more people on stream now. I hope you're all enjoying it. As always, guys, smash that like button if you enjoy this look at. So we did the bad ending as the Panther. I might try and do another run actually in the next few days, do a proper record and see if I can get the good ending. Although annoyingly this one changes resolutions at the screen, so didn't seem to the open source scan converter, didn't like it too much. Oh nice, teleporting bosses out of arenas, that's quite handy. So see, they were sleeping on the dock, not the best idea. Yeah, teleporting bosses is actually quite cool. I didn't really... That sounds quite interesting, being able to put them in an area they're not supposed to be. So we're going the ship route this time. A voyage to castle. Stage 5. I think pending how you can go slightly longer routes pending which stages you pick, and it's worth it to try and rack up as much score. I definitely think the acrobatic girl, I think her name's like Sarah or something. I was looking earlier. She's definitely she's much more nimble, but she doesn't have. The Panther guy has a real advantage with his attack having absolute priority, whereas she doesn't have that because his attack would literally, they just can't block his attack. So you have to be really good to try and get the best ending with her. I think they all have the same ending per character. But again, you've got some nice scrolling backgrounds there to give you the impression that this one's actually sailing on sea, moving up and down as well. So some really nice effects on this one. You have a lot more moves than in previous Golden Axes as well, so I should use that sprint kick. She's got that one which whips them from back, and the forward kick as well, which is, I think, quite a nice little roundhouse. I don't think they've got. I don't think she's as good as the Panther guy, but let's try that. Got a block in there. She should block more as well. Four enemies on screen. That sounds interesting, blowing out enemies up with barrels as well. You don't often get a chance to do that in fantasy games. Usually it's more having to smash them down with your various swords. Although you could do some interesting things in a few of them. And interesting, I always remember there's quite an interesting World of Warcraft story about how they managed to basically, because you're saying about teleporting, I know you can't, there's a few weird teleport things in some of the Bethesda games. More balanced release, nice. Yep, changes do have that effect. Often they add in, like a few times I've seen additional enemies that will change up things, or Dark Souls definitely made a few changes where I was like, okay, that's a bit different. I think the worst part in Dark Souls was I got poisoned originally quite early on, and initially there wasn't a seller for one of the curses, so literally I had to go through half the game in order to get it. That's right, they increased the drop rate as well in Dark Souls, so stuff was a lot more common. So I didn't need to farm clams for quite as long when looking for Twilight Imperial. Twilight, was it Materia? It was from the clans. Definitely have a look at Divinity at some point. I do need to. I can't remember if that's the one we've got 360. There's a few of them. I haven't got the tactical ones, and I am a big tactical RPG fan, more so than just sort of anything else. So yeah, I'll see about getting our next long play up. It probably won't be tomorrow, it'll probably be Thursday. Then I'll do a boss video for that, but come the weekend. But I'll definitely do this playthrough on this. It shouldn't be too bad. Seeing as the Panther guy, I was able to absolutely destroy everyone. How did the AI change? Did they make more healing moves or go for defense more or use more aggressive attacks, can I ask? I was always interested to see how they tweaked AI. Because that can have a big difference, because often sometimes AI you can usually trick enemies into doing set patterns, and like here, although I shouldn't really stand on top of them in this one because they can. Select, let's go for door number 2. Three more hostages. So 3 enough, we get another extra life. Really don't like these skeleton guys. So that's drawing you into hazards, and oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because if you're having to battle over lava, you're going to take a lot of damage. Oh, I think this game has a maximum of 4 enemies on screen in total, so it's not the most technical. I think Streets of Rage is slightly more. No, Final Fight CD has 6 on screen. Got to be a bit more careful over these guys. So I'll take them with aerial assaults. Aerial attacks are probably the best. I haven't done the city actually. There's a few looking. There's a few routes I haven't done yet. There's a sort of ruined city. I don't know if that's coming up next. There'll be treasure in them there. I didn't mean to grab both that health straight away and then. Yeah, she's got the range attack, but the enemies block it quite consistently. Unlike. Although she's definitely faster than the Panther guy. I think she's the fastest character. So she has the speed advantage when it comes to... Notice her speed is usually faster than some of the other enemies. Lava instant death, ouch. It doesn't even drain your health. Mind you, I suppose in real life it would be pretty quick. If you stepped on lava, it would be pretty much instantaneous, but... I think this might be the bird guy again. We got the nice dragon, some really nice effects as well in this, so. I would probably argue this is perhaps the Streets of Rage 2 of the Golden Axe series on the Mega Drive, but some people may disagree. I see, so surfaces have a nice... That's quite a nice elemental effect. Interesting Shining Force had an interesting land effect where certain elements would change what you were hitting for and defending for. It's got quite an interesting combi system. A lot of games don't really have magic combi systems, which is, I think, because it's probably so difficult to put in, or you've got to spend the time to figure it all out. But it would be nice to see more stuff with that, so you've got more variety. She seems to have the advantage with him. Ah, but then this is only the first fight. With the Cursed King, as we now know from the previous run through. Yeah, he'll even jump her sword, so she's definitely got a harder time. Ah, I can wide. I've got a wide by me. Yeah, I do find this quite funny. Like, this is the Japanese version. It's totally in English. Oh. That's an interesting minigame. We're playing football with the meat. Got it. Lost my score out of interest. I think because I've used more credits it will be lower. 184D stage, yep. So you need to get to level A to get the best ending, so I think using credits basically destroys your... I've actually started playing through Shining in the Darkness because it's one of those games I've been meaning to finish for a long time, so... Although the downside, it's definitely got a few niggles compared to Shining the Holy Ark. In the inventory's a lot smaller. You can't view details of the items. You have to use a spell to review them. There's a few other bits. It definitely feels like an old school game where they haven't quite patched and adjusted it correctly. You also need the manual to be able to see who can equip what items. So it is in the manual mostly, not in the Japanese manual. In the Japanese manual you have to use one of the magic spells to see it. But yeah, I definitely think this is... I think this is a very underrated Golden Axe game, Golden Axe 3, and I think it needs a lot more love. Yeah, there's two Golden Axe RPGs. One is Axe Battler on the Game Gear, which is like a pseudo combat system, which is quite interesting. And the other is Golden Axe Warrior on Master System. Now that was actually included on the 360 Sega collection, which is quite cheap to pick up, although I don't think the emulation was perfect. It's basically a Legend of Zelda clone. It's really, really good. Unfortunately, these days an actual copy is going to set you back around 50 to 60 quid plus. I think it's about 70, 80 more likely, so it's going up in price. Although the problem is one of those weird games that's going up in price because people are just trying to extort the price up. When you actually look, the amount of copies that are selling, very, very common game, which is irritating. It's not a rare game, it's just it's an expensive common game is what I'd use to call it. But that's basically a Legend of Zelda clone. And again, that's actually very good as well. So I highly recommend both of them. Unfortunately, we have neither, so I can't stream either of them. Although I can't really stream Game Gear anyway unless I use emulators. So we've got the flame. Be careful with these ones. These ones are definitely the best of the monsters because you can just basically think I'm going to lose that after I hit it. Oh, no, it's still with us. Just that. Oh, is Earthbound that common in the US then? Because it's one of those games that's dirt common but very expensive for no clear reason. But yeah, Golden Axe Warrior, from what I played of it on the Sega Collection, is basically a fantastic Zelda clone, so it's really, really good. It's got sort of quaint 2D graphics. And Axe Battler I haven't actually played, so but it looked fairly decent from what I've seen. It's like a slightly weird thing where you go into 2D battles for the actual battle sections, but it's got like a world map and... I think I might as well try and finish this with her, mightn't I, seeing as we're still playing away, and then end the stream at there. I do really like the music on this stage, it's really, really good. Another magical effect. Yeah, it's actually the problem with a lot of games that... I mean, even Panzer Dragoon Saga sold pretty well in Europe, so there's an awful lot of copies kicking around. You can tell by, if you go on eBay and there's like loads of listings, it's not like some of the other games that you can often spend months without waiting for a listing because next to no one has a copy and they only got... Yeah, exactly. It's so rare. Why is there so many copies on eBay? Yeah, it's not rare, it's just expensive. There's a bit of a difference, which a lot of people don't grasp. This one, they start coming out of the walls in this stage, which is quite a nice thing. Tisnunga Atonement, yeah, that's not a game many people will be looking for. There are some really rare titles. I know that on quite a few of the formats. Certainly the Super Nintendo is really bad because there are some games that got very, very limited releases only in like 1 or 2 regions of Europe. The other thing is a lot of those games that are quite often quite rare are basically more collector's items. Like you mentioned Atlantis on the PS1. That's not... It's very cheap, but it's not that common. I think even the Saturn's version is more common than the PS1 version of Atlantis. Oh, can I get these guys in the pit? One down! So that makes my job a bit easier. Mustn't get hit into the pit myself. There we go. Oh no, I don't want to throw him that way. I'm going to beat this guy. Yeah, we spent quite a long time. Some of the rarer Saturn games, Jewel of the Oracle, which we did see back in the 90s, and but that took us quite a long time to get hold of a copy. And Frankenstein Through the Eye of the Monster is not that common either. Neither are that great, but and they're not cheap, but they're not super expensively rare. They're not Panda Dracoon. Tsunga. Okay, I'll look out for that one. Tsunga. I know there's a number of weird 505 Street games on the PS2 that are incredibly rare. Fire Pro Wrestling Returns got a release, as did. So we know Rule of Rose had a release, but although Rule of Rose probably seems rare, there's a couple of the 505 Street ones. There's like Highway Report Michigan, and a few others that are quite uncommon, to say the least. In fact, 505 Street were really bad for saying they were going to release games and then just not printing any copies of it. Oh, I will need to get to that meat. Now this is... Okay, I know there's a few of them on the PS2 that are very, very rare. That is a PS2 game, I take, Tsunga Atonement. It's Tungustia. It's named after. I think that's the region in Russia that had that weird, unexplained. I think it was a meteor event that they, because they took so long to get out there, they didn't know exactly what had happened. I'm not having much luck against these guys. This arena is probably one of the worst for them because she's. Need to get. Oh really? Wow. Okay. By Saint Teens did Ark the Lad. Yep, that sold it on me alone. Yeah, I've not heard that at all much at all. I'll have to check to see if I can find a copy. I mean, yeah, Sony were quite bad for not releasing their games as well. Was it released in Europe, can I ask, or is it North American or Japan only? Like reverse Legends of Dragoon. I've not played Legends of Dragoon that much, despite having a North American copy these days. So one of those games I should sit down with and actually play. There are a couple of them that. Okay. Use the magic again. These guys are a real pain this because they seem to counter every attack you do. So I'm always just going to try. I'm going to have to just try and plane them. So she has got slightly longer range, so I need to plane with the range. Right, Atlas US only. Okay, in US only. Okay. Okay, that's going to be a nightmare to get hold of then. This is a much bigger stage than the other one, the cliff top. Yeah, there are a couple of games. We streamed it a little bit earlier. The Divinity, The War Within. That's actually an interesting Metroidvania style game, and that I streamed that at the start of the year, and that's one that basically I think next to no one's played as well. And that was a US only release as well. I can't remember by quite an obscure company. I think it got PC release. Okay. €20. Okay, that's very reasonable. I will look into that. It's probably a bit more expensive now, I imagine, to Nasker Entertain, because people do start to grasp that. Although if it's not that common, and no one's really that interested in it, then it might not be that. But there is definitely a few good games you can get for still quite cheap before they start skyrocketing in value. At least in the short term. I think in the long term there may well be a bit of a price reduction, not least because of the current financial system. I think a lot of people are going to be in the near future, but I'm not going to go into politics or anything on stream. Or even talk about the current situation at the minute, which is why I started streaming, just to sort of cheer people up as well. She definitely does not do the same damage as the other character. She's definitely the weaker character. Come on! The amount of times I've hit him, finally, there goes. I'm just going to actually look that up to Gusto and tell me. This one. We should be able to defeat the enemy. I hope so. Well, I don't think so. Thanks for the likes on stream, guys. Very much appreciated. I think I can do a trick where I can, you can time the sword so that they're going to try and rush you with the AI. Oh, and I think the sword's got kickback as well, so... Interesting little bit of trivia. I did actually play through this on the PSP collection, and I had it crash at this fight, and I think that was a bug with the PSP collection. So this was in the Sega Mega Drive PSP collection. Oh, every time I try and do that, it's coming out the wrong side. Yeah, it's definitely... Yeah, you definitely have the advantage on the Y and X plane when you're let's see if I can beat this guy, at least get on the last credit. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to beat this game with this character. Box copies. It did get a Japanese release, so, and you know, I have a load of Japanese RPGs, and I think if I go and check, that might be among them, because I recognise the Japanese box art. Let's see, can I beat this stage? double check. Ah, yes, I do actually have Tungusta. I just checked. It's a Japanese release. When you said it was initially, I thought it was US only. It's the English release is only in America, but yeah, it's got a Japanese release. We do actually have that. I got a huge lot of our PS2 RPG games many years ago from Japan, so. I don't necessarily like naming my characters. I much prefer to have them named for me, just so that way you kind of have a sense of the story. The name, for me, I'm not such a keen on naming the character unless the character is supposed to be you, the player. I much prefer, when it's a character with the story, I much prefer to be named, like the character being named for you. Definitely look at the Japanese copy then. Right, I'm definitely not beating the boss's Tyra Flare, am I? I don't think I'm going to get the... It's interesting that it raises a point how different features suit different people. So you're obviously like the naming conventions, so obviously you want games with naming conventions, whereas I'm not a big fan of them unless it's like a character that's completely unique to me. So that's an interesting one. So I expect you gave all your like Final Fantasy characters unique names, whereas I much prefer to stick with the default names. Should use that forward kick more. That's probably the best one. It's got some depth to it, I think. Okay, right. Let's see. I'm going to save that heart. I think that's a full heal as well. So, seeing as I've only got 2 lives left to try and finish this game, I'm not going to get. I doubt I can beat the. I'm certainly not going to get the best ending as her either. Yeah. So to get the best out of her, I really need to X and Y plane on the higher edges. So that's where her advantage is, where I should have been doing. She can X and Y plane on trying to grab the heart. Yep, that's what the heart does. Oh, that's a very similar thing to the original getting. Death Adder would literally be that. Yeah, that's pretty rare. Usually they don't let you change the name until after they've actually revealed. But I know what you mean. A few games do tell you the name before they say, "Oh, do you want to call this character this?" Right, so I've already had one bad ending. I expect this will be the bad ending again, but let's see how far I can get. Assuming I can actually get to... I still got to fight the, as you saw before, I've got to fight the Minotaurs guys again. But we've pretty much covered every route in this stream, so, but I need to do a full playthrough with the true final boss, because you have not seen the true final boss. So, and I really think a lot of people probably want to listen to the music without me mumbling over it. I know it's weird, we get a lot of people who like commentary and a lot of people who don't, so we're damned if we do and we're damned if we don't, as the saying goes. Yeah, no, I'm very much, I always pick my own names unless I always stick with the default names unless I have no choice unless it doesn't give you a name. Even Nai no Kuni on PS3, which lets you name your familiars, I often pick the pre-designed names, although one or two I didn't like, so I did give them their own unique brand of names. And Panzer Dragoon Saga, I did name the dragon in that because you want to name the dragon in that. In fact, Panzer Dragoon Saga also forced you to name the player, but not the main character, which is a really subtle thing that I've never seen next to no reference about who the Divine Visitor is. You see right at the end of the game, which is really, really subtle. It asks you your name as if it implies someone else's. I'm going to unleash the magic on these guys to try and keep these guys with stuff. Playing to eat for. As always, guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please hit that like button. Although I think it's just you and me at the minute, Naiko. Oh, these guys are a real pain. There's nothing worse than characters that have priority over you. Yeah, monster racing games, I generally give them names. Over there's where I want to get. Got to get them just in that diagonal. Oh, that spin's got as much access on the white. Oh. These guys have got. Okay, let's try. High dash. These guys really are. No. Well. I am bested, so yeah, score level C. That wouldn't have got me to the true boss anyway. But yeah, she's definitely not as good as the Panther. She's definitely a harder character to play as, I should say, not necessarily as good. It's different playing styles. The Panther and you dead. That reminds me a bit of House of the Dead, where you get the you died, which sort of shows you where you die. In fact, this would be before House of the Dead, so this might be where they stole it from. Oops, I better skip this because else it doesn't seem to like the screen selection of this bit for some reason. Yeah, the price of it's not too bad at 50 quid, but strangely there's a lot more Tungusters now on. I'm seeing about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 US copies, so a few more Tungusters obviously now that they've realised you can sell it for money. US version, although we have got a Japanese one, so. So yeah, this is the classic Barbarian. We did do a brief gameplay video of him as well. He's got a full circle. I think it's that. Oh, that's right. He can do the fireball, which is just. Although that's not good for your thumbs trying to roll on the Mega Drive joypad the whole time. He's got a bit more range than the girl as well. I do like that forward. So yeah, that and towards gives you the overheads. But I'm not going to play through any further. Yeah, the screen, the intro seems to change screen selection. So one or two issues. Possibly it might not like my SCART, as I had that on one, although that was, it seems to actually be changing resolutions. During the intro, I think this is changing resolutions, I noticed. So if you watch the Golden Axe intro, it goes in between a scaling screen and then pops to the characters doing a rushing attack, and each of those seem to be running at a different resolution, surprisingly. So that's quite interesting. And I think you're right, this character selection screen maybe a slightly different resolution. Once you get into game, it's fine, but yeah, the intro definitely seems to swap resolutions. Which is interesting, because it does show... Shining in the Darkness had that at the name select, and the start it's changing resolutions. Ah, or refresh rate, yeah. It should be a slightly different refresh rate. I think this is 59. Interestingly, I don't think this is true 60 Hertz. It's... Yeah, 59.91 this Mega Drive game is actually running it at the minute, so it's not actually 59.94, it's a few hertz down. Japanese Mega Drive in 32X, so it's obviously doesn't use full 60 frames a second refresh rate then. Well, it's nothing quite, it's all 59.94, but it's a sort of a hundredth or 200th of something of a frame just slightly below, which is interesting. Okay guys, I really appreciate you all being on this stream. Thanks to Nico for chatting away tonight. I know it's been a bit of a quiet stream, although we do seem to have picked up quite a few people as we've gone along. So I do highly recommend Golden Axe 3. I do think it is by far the best of the Golden Axe games on the Sega Mega Drive. So you've got, said, multiple endings as well. So I'm actually trying to do a long playing with the Panther guy, see if I can get the best ending to show you all. But that will be in a week's time. I need to do Sonic Cars first as well, and I have another long play that I'm currently working on. This is really good fun to play Golden Axe 3. I really enjoy it. It is available on just about all the major collections as well, despite not getting an English release. So originally, it is available on the Mega Drive Classics collection on PS4 and Xbox One. You check the list of games, I believe it is there. I think I must have gone to the village twice and didn't go to the top section. Most just slightly different. Yeah, that's something a lot of people don't say about video games that I've noticed. Very few games actually use, like when you mentioned it on the Saturn, and then I've started seeing it even on the 60 Hertz consoles. I think the SNES is a bit more consistent, but a lot of them are very odd refresh rates, so they're not quite... I have a feeling I went to the village both times and didn't go. I should have taken the up route, unless I was too close to the left side of the screen when I did the up route the first time, because I've not done this sort of cave section in the desert where you get the things come out of the stone. Ancient mound, yeah, I must have redone the village twice. Actually, there's lots of stage in this one. This is definitely the creme de la creme in terms of size. Yeah, and some great, again, great scaling in the background. And parallax scrolling as well. We've got what looks like different levels of parallax scrolling, I think. We've got about 3 different levels. Yeah, so most people, when people say most games have a 60 frames a set refresh rate, they're not quite true. It's because even NTSC, those last, I think this, because it's 59.94, and those last like 6 kilohertz are used for colour information. It's never quite true 60 frames a second. But so few people actually mention that, which is what's really surprising. Yeah, I will definitely do, if you're interested in tomorrow's stream, Nico, I will definitely do Phantasy Star 2, as I said I would. I did a request for Alien Soldier and EX Ranger as well, which I would love to cover, but I've currently got the Japanese hardware out, and we only have PAL copies of both said games, and said games do not like the NTSC, both are PAL optimized, so I have to wait till we get the PAL unit out before I can show them. I think if we get the PAL unit out, we'll be covering Mega CD stuff largely. I wonder if that was the way they had their Konami use their engines to do that. That's interesting that they were dropping frames. There's probably a specific reason for that, but I suppose you don't need it during transitions, really. Again, now this stage is quite... This is actually the first time you encounter the skeletons if you... Oh, it's because I don't like those skeletons, although... Yeah, he's got a nice, really nice, quite a nice watery effect, which is just to show off a magic spell. And transparency as well. It's actually a bit transparency, although I say transparency, I think most of the transparencies in this are flickering sprites, so they're not true transparencies. They're basically sprites on and off every other frame. I think this is where they come out of the walls. Yep. Actually, get the harder versions. So you get to the 2 normal and 2 harder early on. He really is your axe battler character from the original game. Yeah, that strike's good, and if I can get the fireball right, that is actually by far one of the best weapons. It has got quite a nice fireball, if I can get it out. Oh, so I have to hit. Yeah. Shadow of Memories is one of those weird games. It's always really highly rated, but visually it looks terrible. The AI do... The characters that throw fireballs, they do tend to... So the ones that have the sword, whereas the Panther had a rush attack, they didn't seem to jump. The AI definitely knows how to react to some of the attacks, which is tricky with certain characters. It's definitely easy with others. I think this is the forest again. Dim jungle, yeah. So I think that's pretty much every stage in the game. So as always guys, if you're enjoying the stream, please do hit that like button, very much appreciated. I will be wrapping it up now. I think I've shown you all the stages in Golden Axe, which is nice, and we've got the bad ending. I got the bad ending as the Panther. I'll definitely try and get a better ending and do a proper long play. My thumb is actually getting quite sore playing scrolling beats them up for this long these days. The disadvantages of getting a bit older. Really highly recommend it. As I said, it is available if you fancy all the Golden Axes. They are on the Sega Classic Collection. I think they're on Steam as well. So that's where I'm going to wrap it up, guys. Thanks to alternative scenarios. And yeah, I remember saying Shadow Memories is absolutely crazy with the sort of time travelling and everything. But I do need to... We will cover that at some point on the channel. But I'm not sure when. I think we've got the Xbox version a long time ago. So I remember playing it and being a bit underwhelmed. But I think because the start's a bit sort of like... It's a bit wacky. And then everyone's always said it's a very, very good game. So... Thank you to my commentator Nico. It's been great chatting to you as always. Good to see you on stream again. He's currently one of our top ranked commentators on the channel as well. Yeah, I'll wrap it up there as I've streamed for... Oh, it's nearly close to midnight as well here in the UK, so I better wrap it up and actually head off to bed. Xbox version is awful, really? What's wrong with the Xbox version, dare I quickly ask before I finish this stream? But yeah, I'm going to wish you a good night, a good evening, a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good night, good evening, good afternoon, or a good morning. Yes, wherever you are in the world, as always. Thank you very much to everyone who's joined me on tonight's stream. It's good to see you've all been enjoying a bit of Golden Axe 3. It is, as I said, it is a fantastic game, so I really do enjoy it. And I do recommend it. It is available in the Classics collection. Awful graphic glitches and clashes. Okay, I will definitely look at getting a PS2 version then. But yes, thank you to everyone for joining me on the stream. As I said, I do recommend this title. I do think it's a very, very good Golden Axe 3, and I think it needs a bit more love than what it actually gets from some of the Golden Axe fans. It is, as I said, on the collections where you can get it with all three of them, I think, on the Classic collection, and it's available on Steam to buy. So with that, I'm going to wrap up now, but thank you for all your time. Glad you enjoyed the stream, guys. As always, I'll be back tomorrow, and I'll be streaming Phantasy Star 2 tomorrow, so we'll be doing Phantasy Star 2. But for now, I wish you a good night, everyone. See you all tomorrow.